folks, Rich here at RCINFORMER.com. Thanks for checking out this video on the Freewing Messerschmitt ME262. The other day I experienced a right engine failure in flight while conducting an onboard camera run, and I was successful in bringing the plane back safely to the field on only one engine. Since this is such a rare occurrence, I decided to narrate the video and pass on my experiences to everyone. In the following video, I will narrate the action and discuss some considerations and techniques that you can use in the event of an engine failure while flying a multi-engine RC model. Now, as you can see here, the action begins. You can see me walking way out to take my position just ahead of the right engine, and the camera is mounted pointing forward, which is a perfect vantage point for viewing single engine operations. As I begin my takeoff roll, I go ahead and retract my landing gear, and I'm getting ready to make a left turn for a low high-speed pass across the center of the field. As I level off here, you hear a clicking sound, and then something gets ejected from the right engine. This is a total right engine failure. I went ahead and put a little left bank and a little bit of left rudder in, and that helps me maintain relative straight flight. It's very difficult to make a left turn with a high power setting into the good engine, so as you can see here, I start a right turn into the dead engine, which is an easier turn to make. As I get pointed towards the field, I reduce power on the good engine, which helps me maintain relative straight flight. I'm thinking about ditching into the weeds here, but I realize I can make it. I start a turn into the operating engine, and as I cross the fence, I flip the landing gear switch, giving it enough time to cycle, and as the gear comes down, I just make a nice touchdown onto the runway. Now, let's go ahead and rewind everything and take a look at some specifics of what happened. As you can see here, I'm beginning my takeoff roll again, and just about as I get complete with my left turn back to the center of the field, you hear that clicking sound again. And what that is the spinner and the screw and the nut coming off of the fan blade assembly. The next thing you see is the rotor washer being ejected from the right cheater hole, along with the spinner and the rotor coming off of the main rotor shaft. You can see here the rotor or the washer leaves the airplane, and you can see the still pictures that I put up there on the right. You can clearly see that washer frozen in that frame, and after I landed the airplane, you can see here the rotor was damaged, and it was actually just stuck in the engine nacelle. Now, overall, this leaves us in a pretty bad attitude right now. We're close to the ground, in a right bank, and the left engine, which is the good engine, is actually driving the airplane out of control. It's actually rolling us to the right, and it's yawing us to the right. And what we need to do is get control of the airplane again by using a little left aileron and a little left rudder to maintain straight flight and counteract that rolling and yawing tendency. Now, as the motion starts up again, we can see having a little bit of knowledge of what's going on will really help us out. With the left engine again pushing us out of control, I go ahead and I put a left bank in and put a little bit of left rudder in, enough that the airplane is actually in a left bank, and I'm using a little left rudder. Notice that the blue aileron and rudder vector I made very large, and the roll and the yaw vector I made very small. You have to use enough aileron and rudder to counteract the amount of thrust that you have on the good engine. So by increasing the power on the good engine, you're pushing the airplane even farther out of control. So you actually want to reduce the power a little bit to kind of get control over the airplane. And that means you don't have to use nearly as much left aileron and left rudder. But this is the attitude pretty much that you're looking for, just what you see here. A little bit of left bank and a little bit of rudder to kind of help keep the airplane in just sort of a general straight heading. With the airplane under control, we can now consider returning back to the runway. Now, a couple things to keep in mind. Remember, the good engine is keeping you flying. It's also pushing you out of control. You have to find a decent throttle setting. If you use too much throttle, you're not going to be able to control it. It's going to roll and yaw to the right. You have to use maybe about half power, 3/4 throttle, and enough aileron and rudder to counteract it. Now you can see I start a turn here into the good engine because it's easy to turn, and you can see I overbank right here. You do have to be careful of that. Although it's easy to turn into the dead engine, it's easy to overbank as well. But you can see here I found a nice medium, looks like roughly 30 degrees of bank or so, and that gets me around to the field. Now again, that good engine, it's making me fly, but it's also keeping me out of control. It's also pushing me out of control. So when I find the heading I want right here, I actually reduce power on the good engine to about half, and basically turn the plane into sort of a powered glider, and I'm on a nice glide path back without using too much power. Now, because I have good control, again, I am considering landing here in the tall grass, and that's a good option because you will save the airplane. You have good control of it, and it's a good idea to land it controlled like this. But I do realize at this point that I think I can make it back to the runway. I start a left turn, reducing a little more power. I'm considering flaps, but flaps can cause you to slow down too much too quickly and exacerbate control problems and make the plane roll and yaw to the right. Landing gear is the other thing you want to consider. Belly landing it in or bringing it in with the gear. You got to give it time to come down. You have to put it down early enough if you have a 3 or 4 second transition time, and obviously you don't want to put it down too late where you're landing with the gear in transition. But I timed it just right when I crossed the fence. You can see here I hit the switch, the doors cycled open, and the landing gear came down just in time to contact the runway. Now you can see me in a little bit of a right bank here. I was actually starting to lose a little control because I was getting kind of slow, so I was sort of borderline on maintaining control of the airplane, but it all paid off. So just keep your speed up, and make sure you do have control of the airplane, and you'll have no problem bringing the plane back in one piece on all 3 wheels. Once again, guys, I'm going to go ahead and reset this at the beginning and let you watch the entire thing without any commentary in its entirety. Alright guys, once again another safe landing. A couple things to note: this really wasn't a real engine failure. The electric motor and speed control on the right side were working fine, but as you saw earlier, the rotor just came off. Essentially, that creates a total loss of thrust on the right engine, so it's essentially the same thing. The other thing to note, if you're really having control problems when you're flying a twin-engine airplane, one engine quits or there's a problem with one engine, it's always safest really just to reduce the power on both engines to idle, and particularly the one that's operating, and that will turn the plane into a glider, really just like a single-engine airplane, and you can safely bring the airplane controlled to sort of a belly landing or landing out in the tall grass or something like that. It's always a better idea to do that than to add so much power on that operating engine that it causes the airplane to roll and yaw in one direction, and having the airplane go in nose down. That totally destroys the airplane. So again guys, just keep that in mind. Once again guys, I'd like to thank you all for watching this video. Hope you found it real informative. The Freewing ME262, despite this engine failure, it's really a phenomenal airplane. I'm working on the review video now, and I should have it out shortly. It's probably one of the finest RC jet models in the industry to date. You can check it out at bananahobby.com. Anyway guys, for more videos like this, check out RCINFORMER.com, RCINFORMER on Facebook, and RCINFORMER on the YouTube channel. Once again, thanks for watching guys, and we'll see you next time.